Welcome to the 42284 podcast, coming to you from a remote location right outside of downtown Sunfish, Kentucky. This is uptown Sunfish, Kentucky, I guess you would say. We're in the rich neighborhood.
With broke.
We have decided to come out to a fellow's house today to visit him. I've got Brandon and Kyle and myself, but we're at Senate Duval's house, sitting at his kitchen table.
Let me tell you a funny one on Joe. Out there at the station, Joe, he through there every day, you know. If you knew Joe, he's hilarious. He's just big talker and big personality.
Yeah. He was larger than life.
Do anything.
Do anything. He would come rolling in there one day and just in a hurry. I said, what are you in such a hurry about? Where are you going? And it was when Rural King had first come in, like maybe over at, or maybe it wasn't Rural King, maybe it was a TSC had just opened or something. But anyway, they had a big sale that was going on work boots. And he said, I'm going to go down there. I got this pamphlet in the mail and blah, blah,
Go
blah.
get him
Go get a pair of work boots. And I mean, he takes off a fly. So the next day he comes in there and I mean,
Had a truckload.
Yeah, oh, no, he's moping around. He's got his head down. I said, what's the matter with you, Joe? I'm going back to Bowling Green. I said, what happened? He said, why don't you come here and look? And the boots he got was in a box. You know how it's got the size on the box. And I don't know what size Joe wore, but let's say it was
a big
12,
one.
you know, or
He was a large
something.
man.
Opened it up, and it was size 10 boots, and there was 2 rats in there. He said, I want you to look. He said, ain't no one of these $25 or whatever they sold for.
Cost him more to go get another pair than he saved.
He just ripped and roared and carried on. Oh, it tickled me to death.
Oh, he was a character.
Oh, you ain't
Joe
just a
could
kid.
figure out how to beat him.
Joe told me one time, of course, all my life, Joe was a trader.
Oh, yeah.
Trade
yeah.
on cows, trade
that's
on
what
this,
it-
trade on
horse trader.
We had people in our county that was their occupation.
Yeah,
they
they
traded.
survived.
Yeah, that's how they done it.
They survived on that.
Right. And there was a man that he kind of idolized that because I asked him one, I said, how'd you get into this? And he said, well, I was with so-and-so, and he was a good trader, good cattle trader. And said, I said, I want to be like you.
Was it Senate?
No, I'm not going to say who it was. And he said, I want to be like you. He said, what do I need to do? He said, go over here at the bank, borrow $5,000, get you a herd of cows, and I'll teach you how to trade. And Joe told me, said at the end of 6 months, that man had my cows, and I still owed the $5,000. And he said, I asked him, said, I thought you were supposed to be teaching me how to trade. He said, if you'd been paying attention, you'd know. And Joe said, that's how I got started. You know, trading animals, trading cattle, trade horse. He traded anything.
He traded
Oh,
anything, yeah.
Now, them Kintzer boys took big hand with Joe Montgomery. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Leroy
Ted and them.
Ted and
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Them boys was quite a cards.
Oh, my goodness. Ted, was you around Ted a lot? I'm sure when you were around
yeah,
Josh.
I tell you what. So
Ted's one of the funniest people I've ever been around in my
Who?
life. Ted.
Yeah,
Josh's daddy.
he is.
So me and Josh ran pretty hard there in high school together, and Ted lived up in Indiana, and Carolyn lived down here.
Yeah.
And they were still married and everything. They just lived two separate. And they
Well, he
wanted-
worked for GM up
Yeah,
there,
he
remember?
worked for Delco.
Yeah.
And you know, she'd go up there one weekend. He'd come
Yeah,
down here, but
yeah.
I never really met him. Well, Josh and I run just basically what we wanted to do. Well, let me tell you, old Ted moved home, and
He
it,
laid the law
Everything
down,
changed.
didn't
it busted up the game for me and Josh. I mean, we'd go home, we'd go to his house at night, and the door would be locked, and it's 10 o'clock. He said, I told you we'd lock it at 9:30.
Ted, he'd tell some of the funny stories. He's telling one time about being in the 3rd grade, and he had got into it with the teacher, and it was just the awfulest story
Yeah.
you ever heard in your life. And I said, well, what'd you do, Ted? He said, I went out there and got in my car, and I went to the house. In the 3rd grade, you know. But did he ever tell you about getting hired up there at
I'm
ACDL?
sure he has. I don't remember. Last time we saw him, which has been a while, he'll sit and tell Lindsay just joke after joke after joke.
He said when he went up there, he said he filled out a application.
Yeah.
And on the application, it was years of school. And he said, I just left it blank. Ted didn't graduate school.
Right.
And he said, I didn't want that to knock me out of getting a job because I'd do him a good job and I'd work for him. That shouldn't have had nothing to do with it. Well, he got called in for an interview, and he said it was a man at a desk, and said he had his application. He's clicking sync in and going down through it, Ted Kinser, so-and-so address. He got to that years of education. He said, Mr. Kinser, I see that you've left this part blank. He said, just how far did you go to school? And Ted, you know how he'll kind of whistle through his teeth? He said, oh, I believe it's about 1.5 miles. And he said, I don't know what that man wrote down. He said, but I got hired. He said, back then, he said, and he slashed his knees, they hired you from here down.
Yeah.
Senate, we've all always talked about this so-and-so place brought this kind of money back in the day, and, you know, this so-and-so place brought that kind of money and missed out and could have give this for it or that for it. You told me one time about the farm there across from Tilford's.
Old Mandana Farm.
What did you call it?
Old Mandana Farm.
Daniel Farm.
Yeah, the Daniel Durbin farm.
And that's where Daniel's house was at.
And what all did it include? It was, how many acres was it?
About 600.
And it come up for sale when you were young, is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And what were they asking for it back then?
50,000.
That's what I thought, $50,000.
And this is in the 50s or 50s.
And so, you know, most people, when you hear them stories, they'll say, man, I missed out on that. I should have bought this. I should have bought that. Senate was telling me this story one day that Daniel farm come up for sale. 600 acres for $50,000. And I said, Senate, I said, why didn't you try to buy that? He said, I did. He said, I went to everybody and every bank that I could think of. It wasn't for lack of trying, was it?
No, me and Shug, Kermit, we went over 13 times, met with the bank. Well, Shug, he was a bootlegger at that time.
In Louisville or down here?
Down here,
Okay.
up there where the Norman old place are. He living out there, and he's bootlegging there. Well, Shug called, and he said, the bank going to meet tonight. Said, you want to go over and let's talk to them, see what they got any news for us? I said, it don't make no difference to me. I said, I'll go if you want to go. He said, let's go. Well, there said old Scotty, Dink's daddy, all the big wheels of the bank was there. And they had two little peons sitting there wanting to borrow that $50,000. Well, we talked to them, talked 2 or 3 hours to them, we did. Shug said, I can show you how we're going to pay for it. He said, it's all right, you seen it, how we're going to pay for it? I said, anything you say. I said, I'm in with
I
you.
just want to farm.
I said, we're going to farm her if we get her. He said, I've been bootlegging up there. He said, I clear $1,500 a week. And he said, I believe I can bootleg and let Senate go ahead and farm, and I believe we can pay for that farm.
What I make, what he loses, I think we can pay for it.
Well, we got up. They just, me and Shook started back home. He said, we got down there at the edge of the bridge. He said, if they really knows what we was going to tell them, said they'd have burnt the bridge on us.
They shot her down, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about old Kermit. Him and Dad were friends.
Oh, yeah.
He ended up in Louisville.
Yeah.
And Dad went up one time. I don't remember.
Shook lived up there twice.
Okay, well, Dad went up and put a roof on his house. And
Yeah.
we went up there and just stayed
Yeah.
with him while Dad roofed the house.
Yeah.
And then,
Shook could do anything, but, man, he was a good guy.
Yeah, Dad really thought a lot of him. And whenever he died, I remember going to the funeral, and they had put a little green Kermit the Frog in the casket with him. I remember that as a kid. I probably wasn't 6, 7 years old.
Now, who was this?
That was Leonard's brother.
Okay.
Kermit.
Yeah,
Kermit Mary was her name.
Yeah,
Lived up there where Jack's. They had that
I
big
remember
house
Mary.
where-
I remember Mary, but
Okay.
I never knew him that I can think of.
Yeah, he probably died the mid '80s,
Yeah.
somewhere around in there.
You said that your dad had passed away really young.
Yeah.
What year was that? You said
My dad died in 49.
1949.
Tell us about the bridge, about what he wanted to.
He's called the Briss and Dallas and Sherman in there. And I was too little. Hell, I didn't know nothing.
Would you say you were 11 when he passed away?
He said, boys, he said, I'm going to tell you something. He said, if I live to get out of debt and have enough money to buy a 49 Ford car, I'm going to drive her across Brownsville Bridge.
Because it was new.
Yeah, they just had built it.
Yeah.
Goebel Manning had built it.
Okay.
Well,
I think Emo was in on building it some too, wasn't he?
yeah.
Emo
yeah,
Meredith.
Yeah. All them big wheels got a cut out of that. See, they built that one, and Goebel built that down there to Honeacres Road. He built that one.
I think Papa worked on that one.
Yeah,
I believe. I've
yeah,
heard of
Kurt.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the Honeacres Bridge.
But he never lived to make it across the bridge in the car.
No. He knows he'd get up out of the bed. He couldn't get out of the bed.
And you're one of 8,
Uh-huh.
and you're the baby.
Yeah.
So there was you, Sherman.
No, there was me, Gertie, my sister. She's 4 years older than I am. Then Sherman. Then Nanny. Then Briss. And Liz. And Alma.
In Dallas.
And Dallas.
Dallas was the oldest.
No, Alma was oldest.
Alma was the oldest.
Mhm.
And
She-
Alma
She had 3 kids.
did.
Yeah.
Alma was married to Cotton.
Cott's brother.
What was Cotton's real name? I can't remember now.
Cott Durbin. Oh, I ever knowed him by.
Yeah, it wasn't Cotton. Wasn't the real name. Cotton was a nickname. When
James.
When Guy died, so it's Guy Durbin's brother.
Yeah.
Guy had a brother named Ephraim, didn't he?
That's his daddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
As old man Eve.
Old man Eve was his daddy. But Guy told me one time that they were over here at your mom and dad's place because Cotton and Alma were dating,
Yeah.
and that storm blew up, and they saw lightning strike the church over here, and so they took off on horses and got over there, and it's already on fire. Is when the church burned
Yeah,
in the 30s. But he said when Alma ended up in Waverly Hills up
Yeah,
there.
she died.
from TB, right?
Yeah.
And you said that's what your dad passed away from,
Yeah.
also tuberculosis?
My sister, she stayed in Jewish hospital up there a year, and Daddy owed them $15,000 in a year. Now you just think,
And that's in the 50s.
yeah, how long could you stay in the hospital now for $15,000?
Maybe drive through one of the walk-in clinics.
And did you know? Now I'm telling you like Mama told me. There's Mama. She's left here. She had this farm and she had that farm down there. She sold that farm down there and paid the hospital bill. In Dallas and all
When you
of
say that farm down there, where are you talking about?
were.
Oh,
Yeah.
Scher's old farm.
Yeah.
Your mom owned all of this.
Yeah. She owned one back over to
Okay.
Dennis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize that was all one place.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was all one place.
I got you.
Who'd she sell it to? Did she sell it to?
She sold it to Briss and Sherman
Okay.
for $15,000.
Now you're saying your brother's name was Briss?
It
Yeah.
was a nickname, though, I think,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Paul.
Yeah.
Paul. Did he live around here? Because I don't remember him at all.
He lived down there at Siegel.
Okay. He'd been gone for a while then?
Yeah, he died
Okay.
down there.
Yeah, I don't remember him at all.
Did he have any kids?
Yeah. He had a boy, I guess about your age, and he died here today.
He might be overshooting you a little bit.
So where did he live at? Did he live local or he?
No, he lives in Louisville.
Okay.
He worked up there.
There's a guy in the office the other day. We was talking about getting old, and his wife babysat me when I was little. And I said, this getting old ain't all it's cracked up to be, is it? He said, no. He said, are you 60 yet? I said, heck no, I ain't 60.
You just cracked
I
40.
said,
Well, I was
I still
wondering-
got past 40.
When Sennett said that about his brother and his kid, I thought he may have had a kid late in life then, because I'm sitting here doing the figure, and my math ain't mathing, Sennett.
I believe Kenny was 40-something.
Well,
Okay.
I'm out of memory.
I would have thought he was a little older than that.
But boys, I tell you what, there's lots of funny things can happen to you through life.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the truth.
It's changed so much. I mean, even we were younger. A lot of
I could go back to before I got married. I wouldn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, boys, I tell you, it's crazy.
yeah.
Well, one thing I want to know, we had Bill on a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah, Bill kind of threw him under the bus.
Bill was telling about this car that I've heard you tell that got wrecked one night.
Yeah.
And Bill told us his version of it. But now I swear I thought you had told me that you had to settle up on your part. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's what
and
I
he
thought.
did too.
Well, that's what I told you boys
Yeah.
that I thought Senate had told me. Now, what was it? A hay baling? This was this was after the fact, right? This car.
Yeah.
had got
Oh,
wrecked.
I had Jack and
So this several years later.
And y'all thought you'd kind of got away with it.
Yeah, we thought we was clean. We thought we was clean cats.
But Tilford remembered.
Tilford remembered it. But old Bill said, he sent Bill over here to get me. Come down and said he's ready to.
Had you done some hay baling? Is that what you
Yeah,
told
I
me?
baled all that hay. All that farm up there, I baled it.
Square baled it?
Square baled it and put it in the barn for him.
That's what I thought you told me.
And Tilford said, how many bales of twine did you use? I just guessed. I sort of guessed pretty close. Well, it went on. He said, got done. He said, how much fuel did you use? I told him about what I thought I used. He said, I want to be fair with you. He said, don't want to cheat you. He said,
He said how much cost he had in it.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to give you 500 more than I think you deserve. He said, y'all owe me for that car that was wrecked.
Oh, yeah, that car.
I caught my breath. I said, I don't know.
So I mean, you're talking. This is what 5, 6, 10 years.
Yeah. We paid him. I paid him. Bill did too.
Senate's part come out of what he was owed him for that hay. Now, he paid you money on your fuel and your twine, right? He didn't want you to be out any money.
No, he didn't want me to lose no money.
But he wanted
That
his
labor.
part
That
for the-
labor.
I wasn't going to be no profit to me.
Well, I knew. I thought you had told me that before.
But I laughed at him. But hey, JT, I bought a bunch of cattle off of him one time. Bought 25 black cows off of him. Me and the old lady was laying in there in the bed, and he was getting ready to go somewhere, Detroit, I believe it was, to get some cars. And he come over here. He said, I've come to see you them black cows down there on the Kimes place. Down there. Well, I said, you did? He said, yeah. I said, I want $100 a piece for them. I said, you might as well to drive on, old man, because I ain't got $100 a piece. I ain't got $1 to pay on them. He said, you don't have to pay a dime on them. Dime, not a dime. He said, just get them up where you can. He couldn't get them up. I had about 15, 20 little Jersey heifers around here, and they was bulling all the time. And I had a ton truck, blue truck. I just loaded them up. Down JT's I went, and I run them off in the field. You could rattle a bucket, and them jerseys was
They
coming.
come a-running, wasn't
They was
they?
a-coming. I went down there and worked on that barn lot. I got her all fixed up. I went down there one day about dinner time. I got out there and I shook that bucket and poured some feed out. Hell, every one of them come in there. Well, I loaded my Jersey heifers up and I brought them back home. I believe, John, they helped me haul them cows to Bowling Green.
Hey, man.
I ain't for sure, but I believe he did. Him and Sam Tom over here, one did. I ain't for sure. We loaded them up and we took them to Bowling Green. I sold them. They brought $137 apiece. Well, he come over here on Sunday morning. I said, Uncle, I'm ready to pay you for them cows. Made one mistake. I showed him the check.
He knowed what you got out of him.
He just stuck the check in his pocket and kept it.
Thank you for getting my cows up.
That's what he said. He said, you wouldn't charge a man like me to get them cows up that much, would you?
$37 a piece.
I've had more fun out of him. And a lot of it was business. I bought a new truck off of him, boys, one time. 54 GMC. Little short bed truck, V6. He never did. If I owed him anything, it was memory. We didn't have no paperwork between us, hardly.
Just on each of his word, probably.
Yeah. Well, I had an old Dodge truck here. It was worth $200 gas. Me and the old lady drove it up there and the kids. He said, say, son, he said, I'd be ashamed to haul my wife and kids around in a truck like that. I said, I am ashamed. But I said, I can't find nobody to trade with me and charge anything to me. Well, he said, just go down there on that lot and look. I said, what about that little green short wheelbase truck? It's brand new. Well, I believe I told him I'd give $1,600 or $1,700 between them trucks. He said, that's all right. He told him, he said, get that truck ready. He said, I sold that truck to Cindy. Hell, they took her down there and filled her full of gas, cleaned her all up. Brand new truck. Went on, I was up there one day. He said, say, he said, you know what? Said, somebody has stole the truck off of me, and I don't remember it.
He didn't remember selling it to you?
No. No. Well, we fooled around for a while. I said, did you ever think you might sold that truck to a buddy of yours? He said, surely I wouldn't have sold that to a guy and not remember what I got between them. Well, I said, I bet you didn't. Well, I was getting ready to sell tobacco in just a few days. I had about a half acre of tobacco, but I couldn't give him all the money because I had to give somebody over here a little, and somebody over here a little, and somebody over here a little. I had to keep me a little.
You had to spread it out a little.
Yeah, I had to have a nest.
Yeah.
Well, I told him. He said, you're the biggest liar I ever seen, Sonny. I said, no, I ain't neither. About a month, he come back. He said, I'm sorry, calling you a liar. He said, that's my mistake, and I'll eat it.
Did he remember it, or did he just...
No, the secretary
Oh, she
reminded-
remembered it.
She told him where in the hell the truck went.
You said a half acre of tobacco. When I think of my young years growing up, I think of Senate growing tobacco.
Yeah, I was fixing to say the same thing.
How many acres at the height when you were growing? 100? And that was back in the days when a lot of people was growing an acre,
10 acres was
Yeah.
big for a lot of people.
Yeah,
and you was growing 100 at that time.
yeah.
I mean, that's what I thought. I mean, Senate
Yeah, you had
was synonymous
you
with
had
tobacco.
Mexicans up there.
Yeah, I had the Mexicans. I had 17 up there living in a trailer.
Yeah, I remember that as a kid.
Boys, I tell you what, time flies by.
Yeah. There was one of those men you said that you really got pretty close to, didn't you, Lorenzo?
Oh, yeah. I see you think as much of him as I do on
Does
my
he come
kid.
up and visit with you some?
He'll call me.
Yeah.
He called me here
He was
while
kind of like the crew boss, wouldn't you say? Or,
he was the boss.
Yeah.
He called me here a while back, about 2 o'clock in the morning. I said, Renzo? I said, what you call me this word that time and that for? He said, I've got 2 women down here said you need to come see me.
He's trying to hook you up on a date.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
wanting to double
yeah,
date
yeah,
with you.
Yeah.
Tell him what Lorenzo used to call Mama.
The rich woman.
The rich woman.
Call Maxine the rich woman.
Call Mama the
That's
rich
funny.
woman. Send it and tell him some of the biggest tales ever was about Mama. Probably some of them true, some of them not.
Yeah, he didn't
But
make
every
no-
time Lorenzo would see her, he'd say, rich woman. Of course, when it's wintertime, you can see her house
Oh, yeah.
just across the
Oh,
way
can
here.
you? I didn't
Yeah,
realize
when the
that. I mean, I
leaves
know
are-
they're close, but
yeah.
I didn't realize the leaves.
When the leaves were off, and he'd
We
see him
would.
point over there. Rich woman.
We was doing something. Yeah, I know what we was doing. We was cleaning the garage up over there one time. Maxine, she come over. She said, I've got a job. I want all you boys get in there and do it. Said, no pay. No pay. Looked at Renzo and said, no pay. He said, all right, all right, all right. We all fell in there and cleaned it all up. Had it real good and clean.
That big shop there at the house.
Yeah.
That's probably from a birthday party
I don't know what it was
when I
for.
turned 16. Did you come down there that day?
I don't remember.
She come out there. She brought ever how many Mexicans I had. She brought them white hats
Yeah.
and get them all one. I said, you can't pay me off that cheap. She said, I'm going to pay you later. She tried to pay me, and I said, no. I said, you can't pay me. I said, I like them. Them boys good to me. And I said, I want to be good to you. And they was good to me.
Tell us about the one that got drunk on you at the horse sale over there.
Over here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He got drunk. And he thought he was going to buy a horse. And we was going to pay for it. I was going to pay for it. I told him, I said, no, 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 no. I said, you all don't pay for nothing. We got into it. God, I left him over. He walks home.
Which one did you shoot through your overalls up with?
Renzo, we was up there. I had a pistol in my pocket. And was riding that four-wheeler. And that, he said, there's a whole lot loose in these here overalls. I had my hand down in the pocket and I shot that pistol. And Renzo said, hey, he said, did you shoot at that guy? I said, no, but I said, I can.
I can't.
Well, this and you need to know.
Okay.
This is about Kyle White.
Well, let me tell this Mexican story before you tell one on me. This is about the time that Senate was raising a lot of tobacco, and we had a wrecker and a rollback over at the station. You remember
Right.
when we was wreckering some?
Yeah, and wrecking people didn't want to be wrecked.
Well, sometimes. Well, we moved a few along the way.
Yeah.
Did you get moved?
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and took 2 days to find it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So we'd got a call, and I went to guide it. I was in that little black wrecker. His pickup truck broke down. It was down on 185, and I show up at where the truck is, and it's some Mexicans.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I pick them up, and we're heading back up 185, and they can't hardly speak a word of English. And I'm trying to figure out where they need to go. You know, I'm talking to them this and that, and I don't know why it didn't dawn on me first, but we're coming up the road. We get there at the crossroads at the corner market. You go straight to Caneyville, left to Morgantown, right
Right to
our
Sunfish,
way.
yeah, Brownsville, yeah.
Mhm. And they were kind of confused on which way to go. Of course, I'm sure they hadn't been around here
No,
for a
they
long
hadn't.
time, you know. And I said, well, can you tell me, like, a person or who you're, like, where you working at? Who do you work for or whatever? And that one, he put his hand up to his chin, and he was trying to, I guess, process what I said. He said, the man say, you gosh damn Mexicans. And I said, Senate Duval. They said, Duval. I said, yeah, I know where you're going. So I made it right, and I brought him up here.
Brandon, tell about the one your wife worked with.
So when me and Austin met, she was working for KU out of Arlington.
Which is down close to where I live at now.
Yeah. And she gets to talking to a coworker who is some type of engineer in the electric field. I don't know exactly, but he gets to talk, or she gets talking about coming to Sunfish, and you know, he perks up. He's heard of Sunfish, you know. So she's how do you know where Sunfish
And he
is
was
at?
Hispanic, right?
Yes, yes. How do you know where Sunfish is at? You know, and he said that's where I lived when I first came here, and apparently his mother had worked for Senate at some point in time. And so this kid had went on to go to college. I reckon he went to school here at Kai Rock in elementary school, and had
Come a long way from the tobacco fields of Sunfish.
Yeah, to end up here in the tobacco fields of Sunfish to start with, and then be
You
a
said he's an
college-educated engineer. I mean, that's
that's
saying
a big
something
step,
for him,
yeah.
you know.
So a lot of that learning he probably got from Senate right there.
Oh yeah, I'd say he picked up a whole lot.
Yeah, picked up some words.
Sandy probably had to grab the electric fence at some point in time. Or something.
Well, tell us something one on Kyle.
Me and Kyle and Maxine. I was over one day. Maxine said, I've got a couch, a brand new one, and I've put it in the house. And that guy, he sits it back out.
Have you ever had one of those pieces of furniture
You
that
just hate to part
just
with?
form fits to your
Yeah.
body?
Yeah, I
Well, that was
understand.
my couch.
Yeah.
And Mom had snuck in and moved my couch out and brought in a.
Was this while you were still living at home?
I'm living where I live now, and Mom had built her house up here.
Okay, so she'd done it while you.
I was gone to work, and moved my couch out on the porch, thinking I would get rid of it, and brought this
New one in.
new, but it was like a fake leather. I don't know. It's about the color of his boggin over there, that green color
Yeah.
right there. So I put that couch out and put my couch back in. And then here, I'll let Senate continue this.
Well, he done that. We took, she come over here, she said, you know, he took and put that new couch back outside and put that old one back in. She said, where could I put that at? And he can't put it back in that house. I said, well, we can go back over and put it out there in that,
Y'all put up that tool shed, didn't you? Worth of
no. We took it and put it back there. And,
Oh, and that old.
and silk basin.
Yeah.
We put it in silk basin, I did. I drove up out there, and she was in there with me. She said, what are you going to do with this? I said, bump. It hit him. Yeah, old hog and everything out there. She said, now he won't do that.
What do you think about a man take a guy's couch out of his living room?
Well,
And I still love him. I do. I still love him.
so the one that you got at that point in time, is that the one that you moved out that me and Brandon ran over?
No.
So you swapped again.
Yeah,
right?
I'd swapped again. Yeah, no, I swapped again. Have you ever heard of somebody said they'd give you the shirt off their back?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that
Yeah,
story?
uh-huh.
Or, you know, somebody say
I've
that
heard
about
that
somebody?
saying, yeah.
I was over at the station one day, and I had on a pair of overalls that I'd hung on a barbed wire fence, and it had ripped the back of the leg out. I had a hole in the back of my leg, probably 6, 8, 10 inches.
Anybody set the ravelings on fire?
Well, yeah, there was a little fire that went on
Yeah.
that day, and it was getting bigger. The hole was getting bigger
Yeah.
by the minute. Well, Senate pulls up there, and he just, blesses me out. You can't be out here in front of the public with your hind end hanging out, blah, blah. I said, well, what do you want me to do about it? He said, here. And right there at the Hilltop parking lot, he ungalluses, drops his overalls, and steps out of it and said, now give me them.
y'all swapped.
And we swapped overalls right there.
And I'll tell
At
you,
the corner of 70 and Highway 259.
I bet he didn't forget to get what he had in his pockets out.
Well,
before
that's
y'all
what I was
swapped.
going to say. So I get him pulled up like that, and he gets his pulled up, and he starts to walk off. And he comes back, and he grabs that zipper, zip, and I don't know what was in there, but it was a mule choker.
It took some weight out
It
of the
took some weight out of the front.
me and Maxine, he always took and wound up. He tried to cross us up with one another. That guy would.
Well,
Yeah.
they team up on me. You got to do what you got to do to survive when they team up on you.
I laughed.
He come got me early one morning. Got me out of bed. I was back there sleeping. Wanted to help book some tobacco down. Well, I ain't never booked no. We never full any tobacco.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know what I was doing. He said, "Get your hind end up, get up here." So we went up here at this big house barn, and it's me and him and Jack, and I think there was some help there
Yeah.
that day too. And we worked not a long time, 3-4 hours or something like that. He said, the only thing I'm paying you, I guess he pulled a Tilford on me. He said, I'm going to feed you breakfast this morning. I said, fair enough. That's fair enough. So we got set around this table, and I'm telling you what, Linda had a spread that would have made Cracker Barrel jealous. They was anything and everything you could have wanted. Biscuits, gravy, eggs, fried potatoes, 2 or 3 kinds of meat, bacon and sausage, this and that. And I mean, I'm loading up. And she went and got a brand new quart jar of blackberry jelly and set it on the table.
He ate all of it.
And I don't know if y'all could hear that or not, but I done everything I could do to try to eat it. And every time I'd get one of them biscuits and pull a little more out of it, set it, he'd just fuss and rip and rear and carry on. He said, you didn't do enough work to eat all this.
But a good thing he fed you after.
Yeah, I did my best to eat all of it I could.
Hey, you got any good John A. stories?
Anybody had anything to do with him? Hell, he'd load you up and take you to Bowling Green. Sometimes he'd feed you a ham steak. Sometimes he'd feed you a ham steak and a Coke. Hell, he wasn't tight with nothing. John A. wasn't. But now he didn't care to work the hell out of you neither. He sort of liked you. I never got so tickled in all my life. Until John A. had bought a new Alice Chalmers tractor he had. And he got hung up over just across from the old store building there, over there, out there in the field. JT, he told John A. to let him hook to that tractor and pull him out. And did you know they backed up there and hooked to the back wheel and pulled that tractor out sideways and broke the wheel off?
Really?
Yeah.
Good night.
Hey, JT, he'd back up there and he'd throw it for and that thing.
I guess that's like the old saying, I'll pull you in too.
Yeah.
I guess he pulled him in too.
He pulled him too.
Do you remember the time that we were back here drilling wheat or drilling something just right across the fence?
Yeah.
And you come back there and crawled over the fence?
Yeah.
So we were back there. I don't know if we were just drilling grass seed or what.
I believe you grass seed. I believe that's what you said.
Yeah.
Really.
And I had one tractor had the drill backed up to that old dually. I was putting seed in it. Senate comes up there and he climbs over the fence and gets up on the drill. We're standing there. Well, John A. had that 6400 disc. He's coming down through there, and he was a long way away. And Senate said, he's going to hit us. I said, nah, he'll get turned for it. I mean, and I'm telling you, he was still 100 yards away when he said that. He'd be bopping down through there, and I'd dump another bag. And Senate said, he's going to hit us. I said, no, so he'll get stopped. And it wasn't just a second. Kabloom! He run right over the top and knocked me and you off on the ground. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
I told you he was going to hit us. I knowed he was going to. I could see it in his eyes.
I can tell by the way he was coming.
He had that disc in the ground. He got them wheels cut on that tractor.
And couldn't turn.
And he couldn't turn, and he didn't ever raise the disc up. That was a couple years before he died, probably. 'Cause
Yeah,
I had my license. And so, I mean, it was too much going on.
Right.
Yeah. Them wheels,
Too much to think about.
I remember seeing them wheels cut, and they was hopping straight
Jump.
down through there. Yeah, and kablooey. After he knocked us all down, he got her stopped in, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. He said he was hurt.
I mean, he smoked that old drill.
What was it? Didn't Martha get out to open the gate one time? He run over the cattle trailer or something?
Oh, he
He
about
went
killed
over
her.
Martha.
Yeah, he about killed her. I don't remember exactly what happened. We got out and opened a gap. God forbid you hang a gate.
Oh, it's barbed wire gaps.
Barbed wire gaps, plenty.
Yeah.
And so I got out and opened it, and he pulled through and had gooseneck cattle trailer hooked up, and she got out of the truck or was already out of the truck, and for some reason she walked between the truck and the trailer.
I remember this.
And he took off and run over her at that trailer.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
that.
And the only thing saved her was she took off. Best I remember, her upper body kind of fell out of the side of the truck, and that wheels
Run
of the
over her
trailer
legs.
run over her legs.
Yeah.
Didn't break anything, but I remember she took pictures. I got tickled, and I still laugh thinking about it. She got down there in the mirror, and the house in her paint, he's taking pictures of all the damage.
Over legs.
And showed everybody.
There was two guys that you didn't want to hook to nothing. That was Uncle Tilford and John A. Durbin. Because they'd run over you.
Yeah. He got back here on that. He had, which I've got it now, that old Ford 5000 tractor. That big old log had fell out in the field, and he got back there and cut it all out. He'd had that Wood Miser sawmill at the time, and he was going to drag that log up. Well, he said, hook that log to that front end loader. The tractor wouldn't pick it up. He was going to drag it backwards. I don't know why he didn't drag it forward, knowing what I know now. And it was up a hill. And so I hooked chain around the log, chain around the loader, and he raises it up, and as high as that tractor will go, and tries to back up that hill. Well, what it'd do is it'd pull them back wheels off
the ground.
Yeah, and it'd sit back down. And we wallered with that, and finally he dang near turned it over, got it sideways, and it. I remember, I never had anxiety as a kid, but that's got to be what it felt like,
Do you remember when he would bring hay down the road? I remember this when he got that 6400.
That up where he could see under it?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
he'd raise it up where you could see.
I mean, most time you'll keep your bell low and you look over it. Well, John A. He'd raise it just as high as it could go. Yeah, and if he turned at 238 or something, that tractor would lean.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I think Bill was the same way. Best I remember, wasn't he? I
He
think
ain't
I've
too
seen
much
him
better.
I can roll up that high. Do you remember when he fertilized that field and put the green stripe all the way around it?
Didn't turn the spreaders on.
Didn't turn the spreaders on. Turned the floor chain on and went one lap around that field there by Catherine's house.
Yeah, I
There's a
remember.
green strip all the way around that field.
Oh, man.
But boys, I like to get out and look. I can't stay in this house.
Yeah.
Jack thinks I will stay in here all the time, not get out. But as long as that little black truck will run, and I got enough money to buy gas, I'm going to go somewhere around. I'll drive around.
You just go visit people these days?
No, hell, I'll just drive out in the field and drive around. If I take notes and go over to Kyle Watts and want to go out in the field, I'll drive out in the field.
He'll stop over to the office and tell me all the time, I'm stealing your calves. I'm going to steal one of your calves today when I get back. I said, well, if you can get one of them locked up.
You can't catch it.
Hey, hell for you're building a new building, too.
Yeah.
Are you going to turn that in?
Well, sure I am. They watch me closer than they do any of the rest of you.
I believe that's a $200,000 building.
Well, how many you want?
I ain't going to. I don't need none, do I?
I'll just go into the contractor if you think it'll bring that.
You need to drive down there, send it, and take pictures of it. You can send that in, can't you? You can appraise it.
I'll appraise that. You don't have to appraise it. If you don't like my appraisal, I'll get somebody else's.
Oh, I'd say they'd be real similar. I might be like that man a while ago. I'll see how much I get loaned on it. If it'll bring that much.
Yeah.
Is there anything about Bill that you'd like to tell about your
I
old
ain't
days?
telling nothing on Bill.
Nothing?
Nothing.
You ain't got a good one that just, you caught him in a good one and one-upped him or anything?
He just knows Bill. He knows Bill knows a whole lot more on him.
They know where each other's bodies are buried, I believe.
Think so.
Oh, I'll tell you one thing. Me and him went through lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
Bill is closer to me than our brother I ever had.
Yeah.
I'd say that's the truth. I think he feels the same way, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know he does.
Yeah.
We try anything when we was young.
If it's fun, you try it again?
No. I wouldn't try it at all now. What I done. That old Friendship Hall that they moved from down there where Martha's house is up to the church.
That used to be his papa's cabinet shop.
Yeah.
Thomas.
Great-grandpa.
Great-grandpa.
Yeah, up here. They built it down there.
Yeah.
Me and Bill was down there one night. Oh, we'd had a little something to drink. And it had a little building back there behind it, like a crow's foot. You get up on it, then you climb on up on the top of that building. And he had a back brace on, boys, and got on top of that building up there.
It might be when he wrecked the moped.
That may be the moped wreck. He broke his back, yeah.
It was at the time.
Yeah.
That's when he broke his back. Before that.
Yeah.
And I laughed at him. Me and him went one time. I'll tell you this, and this something I'm gonna tell you. Me and him went to Blockhouse over. We bought a bunch. I guess we bought $150, $200 worth of whiskey and beer. Mostly whiskey.
Now you're saying the Blockhouse down on the river,
Over here at the river.
down on Green?
Down 31W there.
Okay.
By Andy Parsley's place
Yeah.
there. Well, we bought her, put her in the truck. Next night, it was he got out and he done something, and he was gone for 6 months. He'd injured that back again, and they wanted to let him out of the hospital. Well, all right, I had all that whiskey and beer to drink. Hell, anybody come along want to drink, hell, I'd give them a drink. It make no difference to me. I had Bill paying for half of it anyway.
You just give them Bill's half.
Yeah. Well, we took Bill come back. He said, how's their whiskey holding up? I said, we're out. We need to buy some more. He said, hell, let's go and get some. Said no word
Didn't
about
care,
it.
did he?
No.
He sure was fun growing up around. He was always into something.
Brandon, can you tell us anything on you?
On me?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna tell it on me. I might tell it on one of these other guys.
Do you know anything real important on Kyle?
Oh, I know enough on them to
Hanging?
just bury him.
Oh, tell it then. Let's bury him.
This
We
is
gotta-
this
we
is
gotta-
the you and Bill's of the modern
Yeah,
of the modern era.
we got a pact here. We got a pact.
We know where all of our bodies are buried too.
Well, I'll say this before we close. Senate's been a good neighbor.
Yeah.
Been a good farming neighbor, and I'm just going to give you a couple examples. Well, I've got one of them wood stoves, like Senate's got one of them outside wood burners.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, back in the day when I was at the station, I don't know that I worked real hard, but I put a lot of hours in. And I was a procrastinator. A lot of times I wouldn't be getting my winter's wood up till it was winter. And on more than one occasion, that blue dual axle trailer of Senate's would be pulled up there by my wood stove, with just rounded up with wood
Yeah.
on it. On more than one occasion.
Yeah.
More than one occasion. I have got. I had a vehicle hung up one time there at the house,
Surely not.
and just abandoned it. Come
Yeah.
to the house, looked outside, said it was covered up the road with his tractor. He just stopped, threw the chain around it, pulled it out, and left it, and went on up. Never said, "This is me that done
I
this."
can remember it. I don't know if he'll remember this or not, but I can remember one of the drought years we had when hay was short. Him coming through by the shop with one of them Kubota tractors, set the roll down on the front, turned around, set the roll down on the back, and drove off. Never said a word to anybody.
At your place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There at Dad's shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said him come in on a tractor. Do you remember when Bill's hay burnt down
Yeah,
there
yeah,
out
yeah,
between
yeah,
his and
yeah,
Catherine's
yeah.
house? I rode the four-wheeler down there because it's Bill. You could see it from everywhere. And got down there on the four-wheeler, and we were sitting in Benny's yard at the time,
Yeah.
but what's Catherine's now? You was talking about that little old tractor, how fast it run.
Yeah.
Here comes sending it on that tractor, and
Yeah.
I mean, when he left the blacktop and went up in that hay lot, it looked like all four of them was off the ground. I don't know how fast he was going. I remember him down there, him and Bill moving that. The hay wasn't on fire yet, away trying
Yeah.
to keep it. Probably saved quite a bit of it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if
we
you-
saved half of it.
Yeah.
About it.
If you's ever out in the field packing hay off and he come through, he just fall
Oh,
in,
yeah.
just fall in and start helping you.
Yeah.
What he said a while ago about he could come down and get anything you wanted, that's the truth. But it's the other way too. There was not a time that
Yeah.
I felt like I couldn't hook to a disc or
People
a baler
worried
or-
about me and Kyle about our field business. I told them what I done. I usually try to, when I went over and got it, I usually try to fill it up over there. And when I took it back, I tried to fill it up over here.
Yeah.
But he's been a
Nobody
good,
didn't know it,
the
though.
first time. See, I never was around Senate a lot growing up. We just
Passed out.
Yeah, just wasn't a lot around each other a whole lot. And I can remember the first time that I remember talking to Senate. They were spreading fertilizer in the field across from Mom's, and the fertilizer truck got hung up. Of course, if you show a fertilizer guy where there's a wet spot in the field,
They'll
they got to
find
try.
it.
They
Yeah,
got to
they'll
try.
die.
it.
Yeah.
We'll go
Let's
to
see
it.
if we can get through it. And I was driving up the road to get the tractor, and Senate was at the end of his road right here on his tractor. And all he needed was just a little tug,
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped and I said, Mr. Duval,
That's over
And he,
here.
and, yeah, and
Yeah, I remember that.
and he
Had-
told me
had
some
that-
choice words that if I ever called him Mr. Duval again,
Yeah.
he'd whip my little behind that he was Senate.
They had
And-
that rope
Yep.
that you could just run and hit her.
And I
Yank
said,
'em ropes.
and I said, "Would you come over and pull this truck out?" It's like, "Well, sure I will." And we went over there, and like he said, hooked to that thing, and it stretched out. And then they pulled that truck out. Wouldn't take $1 for it. And I don't know from that point till
That was
today
Harold
that one of
Johnson.
us asked either one for something that we didn't try our best
To help him.
to do and help one another.
Yeah,
So,
Senate's been a good neighbor for everybody. Been a good friend.
been a great neighbor to me. I'll just say that.
He's got me out a ticket or two. Maybe been a bail bondsman once. You know, he's been good.
Well,
to have around.
nobody else wouldn't put the money up, would they?
No.
They was all afraid of him.
So, but yeah, it's been a pleasure growing up with you around here. The whole family. It's not.
Oh,
just
hell,
it's Jack
boy,
Jr. and
I'll
Jill,
tell you,
Brandon.
It just
Brittany,
lots of
Same way goes
Jack's
for that entire,
boys.
that entire
and
family.
Savannah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been they've been good friends to have in the area.
It ain't been too long ago. I was over here at Mom's doing something and blowed a tire out when I had that little international tractor. And I was walking to the house and I thought, surely to goodness somebody will come by that I know.
Nobody.
Made it all the way to Brandon's. And he took me on home.
Yeah.
It's just one of them days that nobody's out on
Nobody-
the road. Nobody come through. Yeah. But Brandon, he picked me up and, took me to the
Yeah.
house. But I wouldn't be a bit afraid to call on Chase or
any
I
anybody.
tell you, boys, what happened to me one time. I got up there on the Johnny Warren place up there where Tilford used to own. And it's night time and it's foggy. And would you believe a guy could get lost?
In the fog.
Yeah, I did.
I've got turned around before.
I sure did. I drove 30 minutes before I found my way out of there.
You brought up Jack's boys, and I remember Senate telling this, and I'll tell it. When Chase and Tyler were little, I remember you telling about you had one of them or both of them in the tractor with you, and y'all was doing something and had a loader and a bucket on it, and run off in a ditch or something. And said they was worried how you was gonna get out, and you said, "Hey, no problem," and you just let that bucket down, picked the front end up, and backed up, and raised her up, and went on, and said. Whichever one or both said, well, anybody in the world ought to have a loader and a bucket on the front of a tractor. They was little, that just amazed them.
Right.
I remember. You remember that? I remember Senate telling that.
Well, I bought a brand new four-wheeler. Jack bought a brand new four-wheeler, blue ones. Well, them boys rode their daddies around out there in the field, back down there where that pond is. Jack had a barbed gap over there. And you couldn't leave wheeler running because he'd run off and go down in that hole. Them boys got off over there. They left her running. Both of them did. And moved that war. Bent the handlebars, messed the fenders up on it. They said, what are we going to do, Papa? I said, we ain't going to do nothing. I said, we got to be quiet.
We ain't gonna tell.
We ain't going to tell nothing. I went and got the tractor and I pulled it out. I said, I'm going to carry that thing on out there at the house. I said, one of you get on my four-wheeler and bring her on out there. Both of you come out there. We took and stripped her down on Jack's. We put all my parts on there, brand new parts. There was, not that. And put them other ones on there. Jack come out here in a few days. He said, I told you you'd let that thing run off and tear it all to hell. I never said a word.
He thought you'd wrecked yours.
Yeah, he thought I wrecked mine. But it was them boys that I wouldn't have told him at all.
Can we leave it on here where he'll hear it?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't care a bit for him knowing. Now, I told him about it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Speaking of pulling stuff out, I got him hung up at Bob's one day.
Yeah.
We used to buy a grave truck, of course, it's two-wheel drive,
Yeah.
And it's one of them days like we had last week when it had first snowed. It was icy, but the ground wasn't froze yet.
Yeah.
But we was up there at Mom's.
No, we was over in here somewhere, and we went over there.
Yeah, went over to Mom's, yeah.
And I thought you was just going to drive up there in front of our house and stop.
And I was going to make a lap around it.
How far we went from down there to that fence. And we had to walk.
Got hung up. I said, what are we going to do now? He said, what are we going to do? We're going to have to go get a tractor and pull us out.
Yours made him come get a tractor. See, yours just sat there and kept truck and stayed warm.
You know they do that on a guy if he's having him.
I'd get us
You
hung
did
up,
drive
he'd
it
get us
down there,
pulled
though.
out.
That's good.
But boys, I've seen lots of funny things in my life. But they all been good.
Yeah.
You still going to church some?
Yes, sir, go every Sunday.
You there every time I'm down there?
I ain't went the last four Sunday clubs. I ain't had it.
I think they had it.
Was it
Just
weather?
Weather. I'm going to go this Sunday. I'm going to straighten them all up.
Hey, it may be worth spending like a night somewhere and just go and see that tomorrow. So,
We appreciate you. We appreciate you being on here.
yeah, thanks for giving us a couple hours.
You all get the bill the first of the month.
That'd be
All
fine.
right, that'd
Hey,
be
when,
fine.
when you end this, won't you give your listeners an update of how many countries and cities you're in now? I thought that was pretty amazing. the
Oh
other day.
yeah,
We were talking
so
about that.
Senate, you're going to be heard worldwide. How many countries are we in now,
Hold on,
Brandon?
21.
21 different countries are listening to this.
300 and some odd cities.
Yeah, 300 and something cities. We've got the you can see.
That just amazed me when of the different countries that people are.
Yeah, let me
listening
see
to.
it.
Some.
Oh, don't get us down too deep. We might not get out.
So I'll read the countries off to you. So of course, United States, the United Kingdom, Germany, Singapore, Sweden, Ireland, Philippines, South Africa, Australia, Netherlands, France,
Yeah.
the Ukraine. I hope they're over there taking a break in that war and listening to us.
Encouraging them on.
Yeah, Japan. I don't even know how to say that. Tunisia? I've never heard it. Tunisia? Tunisia? Chechnya?
Tanzania.
Tunisia? Yeah.
We'll have to get your
Brazil,
wife to say that one.
Barbados, Chile, Portugal, Hong Kong, and Israel. And most of those countries have multiple people
Yeah,
listening.
yeah.
So if you're worldwide...
Tunisia.
Tunisia.
I bet it's
I don't
Tunisia.
know.
No?
We're from Sunfish. We're going to call it Tudsnia. But if you're from one of those countries, appreciate you listening. So, well, y'all be careful. Have a good one.